Most settlers arrived in western Pennsylvania after the Revolutionary War, when the new government rewarded soldiers for their service by giving or cheaply selling them land. Among the veterans who made western Pennsylvania their home was Stephen Foster's grandfather, James Foster, who settled in Canonsburg in Washington County. In 1796, James's son and Stephen's father, William Barclay Foster, moved to Pittsburgh, where he entered into business with Ebenezer Denny and Anthony Beelan, joining what Foster biographer John Tasker Howard describes as the pioneer aristocracy of Pittsburgh. In 1896, William's son Morrison described his father's work with Denny and Beelan. It was their custom at that time, the beginning of this century, to load flatboats with the products of the neighboring country, furs, peltries, whiskey, flour, etc., and float them down the Ohio and Mississippi rivers to New Orleans, where the goods were sold for money or exchanged for sugar, coffee, etc. Mr. Foster went on these expeditions about twice a year. Sometimes he returned by land via Natchez, Nashville, Maysville, and Wheeling to Pittsburgh, traveling with large parties strongly armed, for the Indians were hostile and dangerous. At other times he took ship and sailed to New York. On one of these voyages the vessel he was on was captured by pirates off the coast of Cuba, but was rescued by a Spanish man-of-war. At New York and Philadelphia he bought goods for the store at Pittsburgh. William Foster married Eliza Cleland Tomlinson in 1807. Later in life, Eliza reflected on the growth of Pittsburgh and the rise of its professional families in the early 1800s. She wrote, "With businessmen, there were no failures, no broken-down families. All were gradually rising, the lawyers, the physicians, the merchants, the mechanics. The lawyers have been in the cabinet and in the Senate. The physicians died rich. The merchants became large landholders, and the mechanics retired to their country residences. The bootmaker became a rich man and judge, and the cobbler has refused the hand of his pretty daughter in marriage with the son of the judge." The Foster family socialized with many of the founding and most wealthy families of Pittsburgh, including not only the Dennys, but also the Craigs, Butlers, Wilkinses, the O'Haras, Rosses, and the Shalers, all of whom have streets, boroughs, or townships named after them throughout western Pennsylvania today. During the War of 1812, William worked as quartermaster and commissary for the United States Army. After the war, he invested in land, purchasing 123 acres outside Pittsburgh, where he established the borough of Lawrenceville, which is now a neighborhood within the city. He sold plots to individuals, and the United States government purchased 30 acres, where the Allegheny Arsenal was soon constructed. From about 1815 to 1829, the Foster family lived in a Lawrenceville home they called the White Cottage, where Stephen Foster was born on the 4th of July in 1826. Most of the years at the White Cottage were prosperous for the family, but in 1826 the Bank of the United States foreclosed on William's land holdings, including the family home, launching a period of unrest for the Fosters. They rented the White Cottage until about 1829, when they relocated to Harmony, Pennsylvania, and then Allegheny Town in 1832. William's career was up and down in the following years. He went through many jobs and started many unsuccessful business ventures. In these years of unrest, the family often went separate ways, scattering to live with friends and relatives. William and the family finally achieved stability again in 1842 and 1843, when William served as mayor of Allegheny City. Even in the years when William was struggling professionally, the Foster family never declined in social standing. This was due in no small part to William Foster, Jr., a prominent railroad engineer who supported the family when needed. The Fosters maintained personal and professional relationships with nationally prominent figures. The family frequently visited relatives in Kentucky, where they associated with the families of Senator John Rowan and Senator Henry Clay. In 1833, Stephen's sister Ann Eliza married Edward Buchanan, brother of Senator James Buchanan, who would be elected the 15th President of the United States in 1856.